Hi, welcome to a Here's 3 Tier 1 unit tier list. We're going to be going through the units, upgraded and non-upgraded, and giving a basic opinion where they stand. So we're going to just jump right in with Pikeman. You want to pull up the stats on those? Alrighty. So Pikeman's damage 1 to 3. It's a bit lower than average on the low end and higher on the high end. HP is high. Let's see. Speed is low. Growth is slightly low. Not really much worth saying there. And cost is a little high. But the health is considerably higher than the average. And the damage isn't bad. I would say it's low end is close to average, and then high end is a bit above it. But like nothing that's really stand out other than the health. I'm going to go ahead and switch back. I would estimate that this is a C tier. I don't think it's impressive, but they're fine. They're not a problem unit. Any thoughts?
Yeah, this unit fits uniquely with the marksmen, who are just such a potent early game power stack, and the tankiness. The speed's not much of a detriment. You're playing defensively as Castle, anyways, and their tankiness. I don't think it can be understated. The one stacks are potent. The marksmen, again, if you can keep them clean, they can just mop up the map in the early game. So I think they should be higher personally.
I don't think it's fair to give them a higher tier because other units in their group are better. You may as well give Imps a high tier because Magogs are strong or something. That seems crazy to me. So we're going to stick them in C for now. I can't imagine a better place to start them. Maybe they'll go up, but I doubt it. Let's pull up the Halberdiers. So 2 to 3, up 1 bottom end damage. That's pretty good. Their average is higher now. Low end and high end. Same health. Their speed is 5 now? Is that speed we're looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not terribly impressive anymore either. I mean, honestly, like, the damage is pretty good, but they're not that impressive otherwise. I feel like they don't get much better. They do seem like a true middle of the pack, but again, this might change based on how bad other things turn out to be. I would stick these guys in C as well.
Man, like that at least.
Look, you can have your comments.
All right, I think you're underestimating the 10 HP. Yeah, that's low, but I mean some of these other units have like 4 HP with like 4 speed, and I don't know. I think they're a lot stronger than you're giving credit to.
That's potentially true, but like if you consider things like both the halflings, the pixies, the centaur captains, like the gremlins, even the skeletons, like I don't see them really being A tier. I could imagine B tier, but like I mean just honestly, I think that we just have a wide spread here, and we're gonna have a lot of things below them and a lot of things above them.
Okay, you were taking point on them, so it's my go. I've got the halflings. These guys are monsters. Day one, you can have a fat stack of these guys. This is an easy A tier. Let me just adjust this just a smidge.
Just can't do all your. Actually,
Maybe I can't do it. Bam, there we go.
Oh no, we're over here at the mouse. That's why.
Yeah, they're just a monster. You start off with a ton of them. Unlike the gremlin, you don't even have to upgrade them. You just have them from the get-go. They're decent speed, decent damage. You have a ton of them. Their growth is large. You can just power stack these guys. Like they're 1 to 3 damage. So I mean, if you bless them, they're strong. They've got reasonable speed for their tier. They're low HP, but so you have to be careful what fights you take. They're situationally super squishy, but overall just pretty OP for the tier.
Yeah, I would say that A is a good answer for them. They do have the weakness of late game. They're just going to get murdered, but like that's not different than marksmen who will go into one fight and then just be dead forever after. Like one fight against a castle, you just lose your whole marksman stack. And that's just how it goes. So, not dissimilar halflings, but it's an immediate early game ranged power stack. So, A tier, hard to argue you can get something more impactful from a tier 1 unit than this.
Yeah, I mean, these are all tier 1s. Besides the skellies, they're going to be pretty irrelevant in the late game, but, that's just par for the course. So then the upgrade, you got the Grenadiers. They have the ignores 20% of enemy's defense skill. That's pretty useless. It's a marginal upgrade in my opinion, but these guys are not living into the late game anyways, so it's kind of, by the time it takes effect, it's kind of irrelevant for the group.
Can you go back to that previous? So their bottom end damage goes up by 1. They don't gain any HP, so that's not the best. But +1 damage and some actual defense skill like avoidance, that's solid. That's not bad. I mean, again, same issue. You get into a big fight and they get hit by one lightning bolt and they're dead, and forget it. But yeah, definitely deserve to be an A tier.
Well, so again, just as a last comment, they don't really accomplish anything that the regular halfling doesn't. They're marginally better. It's a cheap upgrade. If you don't have the gold for another dwelling that you want, it's not a bad upgrade. It is half damage more on the bottom end, but they don't really help you do anything, take any additional fights you wouldn't already be able to. That's why marginally put them better, but it's kind of a wash.
All right, this is it Oceanids? What are these guys? What are they called?
Yeah.
Look at the other list. Nymphs?
Nymphs.
Hey, pull up their stats. I gotta actually look at this.
Terrible.
So 1 to 2, that ain't great. 4 health, 6 speed. 6 speed's pretty good. And the growth is 16, it looks like. So they're similar to pixies, that there's more of them than usual, but not a ton extra. Teleporting, so they have flying, that's pretty useful. Immunity to Ice Bolt and Frost Ring, which is situationally fine. It's not useless. Let's see, how do they compare to pikemen? So, less damage, more speed, way less HP. I would say they're probably below pikemen C tier. That's kind of my estimation on where they land. It depends what you value more, but teleportation, flight, speed versus 6 HP, 1 damage on the high end. I think they're worse, but kind of comparable.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with the placement. I think that their speed is really nice, but you can't do a lot with it. Their HP is so low. If they take retals, they get smacked. I think they make better 1 stacks than the pikemen because of their speed. They can jump out and take retals for their units, which pikemen can do, but they have a harder time. Really, their selling point is the speed and the quantity. But again, they just get mopped up so quickly. And pikemen actually have, I think, decent staying power. So I would definitely agree they're not quite to the pikemen list level.
All right, let's look at the other one. I'm assuming they're also going to end up in C, but let's see. Maybe they surprise me. 1 to 3, still 4 health, 8 speed, which is quite good. Nothing else to say about them. So they're faster.
2 speed.
2 speed's good. It's a good addition.
1 upper end damage.
I mean, it's a pretty good upgrade, but I can't imagine that it puts them to B, does it? 8 speed's pretty good, but is that gonna really send you up there?
What are you feeling?
I'm gonna say maybe they're better than basic pikemen.
It's double the speed.
Plus 2 speed's kind of a lot. I mean, maybe they deserve to be in B tier, but yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time. I guess they have 3 speed on the halberdiers, but yeah, I definitely should. I'm looking way. Very interesting things happening in this direction, so yeah. Yeah, I would say that it's reasonable to put them over halberdiers, but I wouldn't put them in a tier above them.
Yeah, it's kind of situational for me. Again, you have the speed, but you've got, and actually they have the same damage. The speed and damage is the same. If you micro them well, they're going to do more for you than the pikemen. But again, the pikemen are mostly there to just protect your marksman, so they don't really suffer from it. I would probably go lower for both of them, but the Oceanids are yours. So,
Your turn.
Are you leaving at where they are?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got the pixies and the sprites. These are pretty similar to nymphs. Let's see, same damage, 1 less HP, 1 more speed. So kind of this, they're pretty similar. And then the Sprite is essentially the same deal with the Oceanids, except they have no retail. So Pixie is almost identical. I would take the extra speed over the HP, because what's the difference for 3-4 HP is almost identical. I'd rather have the extra speed. And then if you're to upgrade them, they get the no retail. This makes them way better. They're super fast. If you have them on a side hero, you can hit with lightning bolt or whatever first and kill other scout heroes. The no retail, you can actually, they don't do much damage, but at least it's free damage. They're basically a ranged unit. Some fights you can kite endlessly and finish. I would easily put them probably low A tier. Thoughts?
So I'll say that sticking the sprites in C tier makes sense. I feel like the high speed makes it hard to put them lower. Pixies. Sorry. Sprites in A tier makes perfect sense. They are very strong. They can take early fights pretty well. Not against ranged stacks, but against most units that are slower than 9 speed, you can probably take it with a power stack of Pixies, which is honestly very good, because that's common. Most groups are like that. But sprites, again, they're just not great until you upgrade them. So, I'd say it's pretty good. Honestly,
the upgrade has gotten cheaper.
I would say that it might be reasonable to even not buy Pixies because of how much better sprites are. That, if you have them, you don't pick up a lot of them. You just focus on the elementals because you don't want to lose the stack when you get the sprites unless you rush him. So, yeah.
I would say though that the Pixies can take retails, so the 1 stacks can help you maintain your air elemental stack. And actually, I think they can fill a role that the sprites can't, and are definitely worth picking up. Maybe not in a power stack, but just having 20 of them that you can keep splitting into 1 stacks to go take retails for your air elementals and allowing them to just attack with impunity is pretty nice. It fits with their faction really well.
I suppose so. Though I'll say that air elementals seem like they stand on their own. They don't need much carrying for them. All right, let's look at gnolls. Give me some gnoll data. Alrighty. So 2 to 3, good damage range. 6 health is not very high. 4 speed's very slow. I think these guys are expensive though. What's their gold cost?
6 is above average, marginally.
What's their gold cost? They're 50 gold. So
a bit above average.
Yeah, not crazy. They're not impressive. I don't know that they're terrible though, because 2 to 3. I'm starting to think we should start breaking the C tier apart because it's getting kind of big. It's getting kind of bloated. Let's look back over at it. I thought we move something up and one thing up and one thing down.
These guys are almost identical. How are you going to split these? It's both or neither.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Well, the thing is, I feel really strange about sticking the 2 to 3 damage range. Put them in D, I guess. Put the gnolls in D. I can't. They're just not as good as these other guys above them. 2 to 3 damage is good, but they're so much slower. Their health is so much worse than the pikemen. They're so slow. Yeah, I just can't imagine that you'd put them higher. So, D tier for them. A sad day, but let's see the Marauders. What do they gain?
2 to 3, 6, 5.
1 speed? No ability? Looks like it's back-to-back D. Any disputation with this?
No, these units they're not horrible, they're just not very good. They're very pedestrian, don't really fill any role. Again, unlike these units above them, who are, I think, quite a bit better for various reasons. Speed for these two, and just for tankiness for this. But these units also fill roles in their respective factions, whereas the gnolls, they're not guarding any shooters. You're just not really doing anything with them.
Are they not guarding lizardmen? Just gonna ignore lizardmen?
That melee unit? They're terrible. Alright.
Lizardmen are real?
Lizardmen are a joke. Come on. Alright, let's see here. Goblins. 1 to 2, terrible damage, mediocre health, and mediocre speed. You get a ton of them. They just kind of suck. You get a lot of them, but I think, let's see, they're the same speed as Knowles, right?
No.
5, 4. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go bam.
I'm going to say that's a real bad take. They have 1 less health, they have 1 more speed, but they have 1 less damage. Like, low end and high end less damage. And so the difference of 2 to 3 to 1 to 2, like, these guys are borderline F tier. They are not good. They're probably better than, like, Trogdolites. We'll get to them.
Yeah, but they don't slow your army down. Knowles actually do.
Do they? Aren't their, like, whole army, like, slow? Like, who's fast in Fortress?
Well, you're not, like, they're the slowest unit. They're 4 speed, which is slower than all their other units. So they're the slow unit in a slow faction. Whereas these guys are at least the same as the orcs. And so, your early game units at least are not being slow. I mean, army is not being slowed down by them. They're not completely useless.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you again, because your early game army for Stronghold is rocks. So, they don't have any place in this game. They're just, like, always superfluous until you have so much money you're like, I can afford 1 extra unit after the top 4.
Okay, but you were saying that the faction shouldn't be taken into account very strongly, because otherwise I think the pikemen are higher due to their army composition.
I mean, I guess if your argument is that the pikemen get to stand and die as other people kill everyone, that's fair. But my point is that you don't usually get a power stack of them. You don't usually have them valued. And so the comment of, like, oh, they're fast, it's like, you don't really have them in your army. Like, early games, their speed isn't really, like, a big selling point. And again, they don't hit hard, they have very low damage, and they're less health.
Yeah, 1 less damage, 1 less health, but they at least land the first punch sometimes. The Knolls never do. It's like, I guess they have more staying power. I could see doing like this. I don't think they're F tier. They're not like, I won't buy them. I mean, maybe I won't buy them because I don't have the gold for it. But like, they're not actually, like gremlins.
I mean, I can accept that. I can accept them, but I just couldn't accept the idea of putting them over a unit that has a full damage range over them and extra health for the same tier. Like, that's crazy, especially when the damage and health are so low at this time.
All right, then we have the Hobgoblin. They gain 2 speed. Stats are the same.
Damage too?
Damage is the same. Everything's the same. They just gain 2 speed. I think 2 speed is actually a pretty decent upgrade, though. Yeah, they're squishy. They get hit, but like they can clear they can get across in 2 turns. They can take retells a lot better. The 7 speed like makes them actually shockingly speedy. They can cover ranged units. They can fulfill some roles. I think I would probably put them below. Let me verify that. Let me check the nymph speed is 6. So 1 speed. I guess they gotta be up like that. Something like that. They're pretty useless. Sometimes maybe if you're really good at microing, you could use them to tank for your wolf raiders. But like realistically, that's just a huge pain in the butt and not worth the time and effort.
All right, on to Trogdolites. Let's look at them. So 1 to 3, it's pretty good. 5 HP, 4 speed. Okay, so they do less damage than the Knolls. They have less health than the Knolls. They have the same speed as the Knolls.
They're immune to blind.
Let's put them in F tier. It's the first person to go there, and I think it couldn't happen to a worse cave dwelling Trogdolite. Let's look at the next one, the Infernal.
1 to 3, 6, 5.
So, +1 health, +1 speed. I think that's enough better. Put them in the D tier. They get to really get out of F tier. They're just. I mean, I guess. Like, they might be better than Knolls. Like, no Marauders though. I'd say maybe put them up one farther. I mean, less damage, same
Really?
health, more speed.
1 to 3. The other one's 2 to 3. 6 5. 6 4. Yeah, the one extra speed is definitely worth.
Yeah, I think that's where they belong. So, not much to say here. Immune to blind is not relevant on a weak unit like this. If you're fighting someone that has good spells, they'll just lightning blast it or implode or meteor shower. Not relevant. They're terrible. Yeah, not an important buy. Not good stats.
All right, up to the skeletons. This is the easy one. These units suck, but man, are they potent! And even into the late game, these guys are a monster. The whole Necropolis playstyle almost depends on them. They're more influential than anybody up till tier like 5. Honestly, over the course of the game. And then Skeleton Warriors. So you res fewer of these, but generally you don't run with Walking Dead, so you have 2 stacks, a stack of unupgraded and upgraded. So I'd put them above the skeletons. Thoughts?
I mean, I'm willing to look at their stats, but I'd say that I'd probably put the regular skeletons over the upgraded one. They don't seem like a priority to upgrade. So, I mean...
Yeah, but it's only 1,000 gold, and it's an extra speed. And I think that's it. 1364. Let's see. 1364. 1365. Yeah. So it's an extra speed, but it's only 1,000 gold. And when you're upgrading, 800 of these things, I think it's a pretty worthwhile investment. They fill a similar role, but I mean, I'd rather have Skeleton Warriors. Again, assuming that I have an open slot, so I'm not losing necromancy, numbers, but I'm skeleton transforming the Walking Dead anyways. I mean, this is the zombies, so I'm gonna have both stacks of my army, but I'd rather have the Skeleton Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably fair in the sense that this unit belongs in A tier, not because it's strong early game, but because it's the only tier 1 unit that will ever be useful late game. Like, you get a power stack bigger than anyone else by quite a lot. Like, hundreds and hundreds bigger than the next closest first level unit. Like, you'll have a bigger skeleton stack than you'll have a sprite stack, even though the skeletons get like probably 8 less per week or something. It's like you just way outscale in terms of numbers anything else. So hard to argue. It's really good. Imps. Let's look at imps. 1 to 2, 4, 5. Okay. I mean,
1, 3, 5, 4.
how does that compare to goblins? 1 to 2.
Troglodytes.
So
1, 3, 5, 4. It's 1 more HP.
So they're a worse version of goblins.
Maybe worse than troglodytes.
Yeah, they're going in F tier because you don't want them. They're terrible.
Eh?
Perfect. Couldn't happen to another.
1, 2, 4, 7 plus.
Plus 2 speed, and they get to what? Magic Channel? What is Magic Channel? Is that stealing spell points?
That is.
This is not as helpful as it looks.
I probably should have looked it up already. Just
Let's
assume
see.
it's irrelevant.
No, I do not assume it's irrelevant. Scroll down again.
Magic Channel.
Alright. Manners. So the
20% of the points the enemy here uses for the spell rounded down.
yeah, I
You
mean,
can gain spell points during combat if the enemy hero casts any spells and at least 1 stack of familiars are alive.
that's not useless. It's not amazing, but like, it's worth having in your army in the late game because people will use spells and maybe you need spell points. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they might be high-end D tier. I think they're high-end D tier.
You can get better than Knolls.
I think so. I mean, like, 20% magic. Like, you could easily get 15 spell points in a battle. Like, that could be an additional, like, meteor shower or something. Like, That's not like that. That could be a game changer. That could actually turn the tide of a battle. And their stats aren't great, but 7 speed's good, and they otherwise suck. But like, I mean, they're considerably better. Any disputation?
No, I think you're right. I think the speed, and the cost, they're a lot cheaper than the Knolls. The Knolls are pretty expensive for basically nothing. At least the familiars are really low and really cheap, easy to produce. So I mean they're a low investment, low payoff, but the Knolls are like decently high cost with basically no upside either. All right, on to the Gremlins. These guys are horrible. Let me see here really quick. What are they? Are they at the bottom of D?
1, 2, 4, 4.
1, 2, 4, 4. Okay, that's an easy D. F, bottom of the F. And then we upgrade them. They become ranged units, which is great. 1, 2, 4, 5. How do they compare to halflings? 1, 3. All right. Worse damage, 4, 5. Same health, and then the growth. 15, 16. They're kind of like a little bit worse halflings, I would say. And you have to pay to upgrade them.
So you do get to have the Belfry upgrade. It's arguable that they belong in B tier, but I mean it's hard to put a range stack like one cost in anything but A. So, but I could see him being as low as B, but not any lower.
I think any tier 1 unit that actually helps you take fights and allows you to clear in the early game is going to be an A tier. The drop off from like does legitimate damage for an extended period, even into the mid game. I don't think that can be underestimated. You get a ton of them. Their growth is huge. You get a ton on each hero. You can get like 100 of these guys like day 4 or 5, and you can take real fights with them. So they can really get you rolling as tower, which is their big weakness is their early game. So I think your whole early game strategy really goes off these guys until you can get like Nagas or something to actually carry your army. I think they're absolutely critical, especially to their faction.
And it is relevant to say we usually play on maps that are not incredibly wealthy, and we play in tournament rules, so you start with low gold. So this is a fair take. They can go in A tier, yeah.
On impossible difficulty.
Yeah, of course. Gotta play hard. Next up is Centaurs. So 2 to 3, 8 health, 6 speed. I mean, they don't have any special ability and they're not ranged, but like they gotta be a B tier at least. Let's see what's in B tier right now.
The Oceanids?
Yeah, they're ahead of the Oceanids, I'd say. Like, Centaurs, even basic, are just crazy. They're tanky, they're fast, they do good damage. Then you upgrade them.
Pretty expensive.
That's true. That is true. But you don't usually buy dwarves, so it does kind of balance.
The upgrade is 2 health and 2 speed.
I mean, they're probably the bottom of A tier, right? Like, 10-8 is fast and strong. Their damage is still 2 to 3, right? They don't go up either there. You can go and look.
What? What are you looking at?
Their damage doesn't go up. It's still 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Their health goes up 2, their speed goes up 2.
I mean, like, it's a serious upgrade for a level 1 unit.
They're expensive.
I mean, again, like, I'm not sure it's a huge deal. Like, I think that they're just...
Skeletons are surprisingly expensive, but...
that doesn't matter much.
No
I would say that, like, in terms of just raw stats, they're the best tier 1 unit by, like, a country mile. So, like, hard to argue against that. But, I mean, like, they're worse because they don't have these other mitigating abilities. They're not ranged, they don't have no retaliation in flying, and they don't have an infinite growth. So, that takes them down for a bunch of reasons, but, like, they have really good health and speed, and you do get a good power stack from them, so...
I would actually disagree here. I would personally put them above both the weak range stacks because what they carry, they're good in all circumstances. They get across the map, the battlefield in 2 turns, so you can wait and you can go cover ranged units. These guys, you're gonna bleed to any range stack. A bunch of really fast stacks, you're gonna bleed them if you don't if you're not careful with your 1-stacks to protect them. They require micromanagement. They slow your army down. These guys are just monsters, like, in every situation. So they're extremely flexible and durable. They last into the mid-game and are still, a factor in your fights. Whereas these guys really fall off. They get you rolling, but, like, they really fall off. I would personally only put them below the skeletons, who are obviously head and shoulders above everybody else in this tier.
I mean, I guess that could be argued for. I do have this kind of lingering memory of, like, they do good into the mid-game and then they all die, and then you never get a power stack of them again. But, like, kind of, you're playing Rampart, so eventually you're just running around with gold dragons, dendroids, and dwarves and nothing else, and you're like, well, everything else died. That's my army now.
The skeletons are the only unit in this tier that escaped that eventuality.
I mean, I guess I'd say I could see putting them over, not even, I wouldn't put them over the other Grenadiers. I'd put them over the first one. I could see that. All right.
I think you just don't like to see the halflings together. Now for the new unit, the Bulwark unit, the Cobalt. These guys give you 1 gold per turn per unit. Obviously, that's alive. They're terrible. 1 to 2 damage. 8 health is actually really good. They're really tanky. And 3 speed. 3 speed is brutal. They slow your army down a lot. You kind of have to carry them for the first, several days to the first week, because you just have no other, real meat. But they're so slow. They move last every turn. They're really hard to even take retells with or even get attacked. Like, you send these guys out as fast as you can, which is very slow, and, like, they still don't get targeted. They just, like, man, these guys are miserable. The gold per turn never ever pays for itself. They basically are just cheap meat, and that's it.
I will say that the gold per turn is a huge bait, because it takes 40 turns for them to pay for themselves. Like, it really just does not make any money, basically, for an entire game. So, like, to kind of put that in perspective, like, if you buy them day 1 and then you never lose them all game, it's not till the second month that they're going to start giving you value in terms of gold. Like, they are not worth it. So, let's see how they upgrade.
Even in that situation, if you have them for 2 months, it's still, like, barely producing anything. Again, it's really just lowers their cost, essentially, is what's happening. They don't produce. They're just pretty cheap. I mean, they start at 60 gold, which is basically exactly average. So the longer you have them, the cheaper the meat becomes. And they are really tanky. So they fill exactly 1 role at the cost of slowing your army down like zombies do, which is just, like, tough. When you upgrade them, it's not as bad. They have the 5 speed. That's the only difference. So you can actually kind of keep them in your army. It can still be difficult, though, honestly. If maybe you're rolling mammoths, they're actually in your army. So I put the unupgraded in the bottom of D. You do actually have them in your army out of necessity, but man, you're just really happy once you just leave these guys in your castle and never think about them again. The upgraded one, man, they're still horrible, but at least they're not slowing your army down so badly. I'd probably, man, they're kind of just, like, useless. I'd probably, like, see something like this, maybe, like, I don't know. What's the null speed for? 4. I'd probably put them above these guys, just so because they're not slowing your army down. But anybody who's as fast is better, and so I'd probably slot them in right about there. They're almost useless. You have to carry them, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're pretty terrible, but they might be one of those upgrades you want early, just because you are going to be carrying your gnolls for a while, unless you take, like, a specialty for, I don't know what specialty you take that wouldn't carry them. So I'll say it, you probably upgrade them early, just because that's probably not very expensive. I don't know what the cost of the building is, but I imagine 1,000 gold and maybe a few resources. But 2 speed is really necessary to, like, free your hero from the mud of movement. And yeah, 8 health is fine, not a complaint. They're gonna get hit first, so it's good that they have enough HP to, like, not just disintegrate. So yeah, mid D tier is fine. Any parting thoughts?
I think the list is pretty solid. There's clear distinction, in A tier is just bangers, all of them. They're critical to their factions. They make an impact in the early game, maybe into the middle late game, not late game, middle late game. And they actually do something for your faction. B tier, either really good stats or really good speed, just good utility. And then C is where you get into the muddy waters of like. I think pikemen honestly belong in B tier. Honestly, like I would probably do like this and leave the halberdiers. I don't think they're worth upgrading. They only gain 1 speed, but they're so critical to their faction. They get a huge amount of value from these guys. That would be my only real gripe with the list.
I mean, honestly, I feel like depending on the map, you might be able to pick up swordsmen and just kind of skip them. Or even griffins. Like, if you have like a small stack of griffins, you can just ignore like pikemen. They can still cover your archers. They can cover them just as well. They can take retaliations. They have like pretty good health. I don't know. I think that the argument that they do a lot for the faction is just how you've played it, and isn't actually necessary for how you play the faction. That's kind of my take. Though the 10 health is pretty hard to argue. They might deserve to be in C tier, B tier. But they're not a bad benchmark for kind of where you want to be as like this is a solid unit, but not like a game breaker, because they don't really control the battlefield. They're just kind of useful to better units.
I don't know, man. 10 HP is a ton. If you're a Loinus, you can prayer these dudes, and they become a menace. The reason that they're better than the swordsman is you really don't want to take the time to buy the swordsman. You're trying to rush to angels. You already have these guys. You already have a bunch of them because you're getting them with each of the heroes you're buying. So you have like 60 of these dudes like day one almost. So you already have basically a free power stack, and they last a long time. Your marksmen take most of the hits. They make really good 1-stacks. Like a lot of times the 1-stacks can take hits from units even and not even die. So
I don't see why they would make particularly good 1-stacks because they're so slow. But I can see them being in B tier. I'd say you can move the pikemen up to B tier. All right.
Well, the reason they make good 1-stacks is because you're doing a defensive stance. These guys are running up and guarding the marksmen. They're not trying to go take retals for other units, other melee units. They're not trying to go park shooters. They're just sitting. They're kind of like golems, filling a similar role.
Yeah, but this is my comment is I would not put golems or dwarves in B tier. They're like the only reason they're in B tier here is because they do the defensive parking and you only use them in early enough game that you just pile around your unit and just hope it's enough. Like it's extremely limited in its time. They're like dwarves. That's not a great comparison for them,
Yeah, but the standard for a good tier 2 is substantially higher than a good tier 1. So you're getting tier 2 value from a tier 1 unit. I really think you're underestimating the value of them.
I guess that's probably fair. They'll be square with dwarves. They last the late game. They're useful in the late game in a way that no one here besides skeletons is. Just because you're going to have games that go long, and you're going to buy all your units if you have the gold, and the dwarf stack just hangs around. It hangs around until eventually it's really big, and, like, the rest of the army has died off, so you have your couple tanky stacks, and, you go around with, like, 80 dendroids and, 200 dwarves, and you're like, well, my spells are good, so this is probably good enough. But it's all on the side. This is our tier list. It's a banger.
All right, we're going to be jumping over to our tier 2 units tier list. You can join us in for that, and have a good night.